Good morning. Why we reject idolatry. Okay, I got to searching through this for, I'm exploring the ideas, and I come to Parshas V'Eschanan, okay, and I find something that fascinates me. It's talking about being very careful not to think that there was anything that you saw at Mount Sinai. Why do you have to be forewarned about that? It says, lest you destroy yourselves and make for yourselves an image, a graven image of any form, any zachar, and it goes on to all the things you might think, male or female, an animal on the earth, a bird that flies in the heavens, anything that crawls upon the earth, or the fish of the sea. Okay, it goes on and on. You're so worried about that? Why would anyone think that? So the Torah forewarns us, okay? And I want to find out what's underlying it. What underlines this idea that forming an image of God, defining it in such terms? Good morning, Dr. Godfrey. Good morning. Why would defining that be such an essential part of foundation of our religion? What's so bad about it? Let's find out what's at the root of it that makes it something to be the central concern of all of Judaism. That's what we introduced to the world. Why? The idea of giving a graven image to what you think godliness means, or God means. That is the foundation. Okay, I said that enough. So I have a very interesting interpretation that will take me to another topic. Maybe I'll give the answer away just in case I forget to come back to it. People tune in for time segments anyways, right? So at least they should hear a whole thought. And it has to be explored, and the idea has to be enriched to such an extent that you really understand it. It takes a lot of rumination, the word. You have to think about something to really understand it. Because we're going to get into a discussion. I'm jumping around a bit, okay? We're going to get into a discussion about angels, whether they have form. Okay, I found one in the Mefarshim, Mar Shemesh. He's a Polish Rebbe. He has a Chassidish pshat on the Chumash called Mar Shemesh, okay? 1700, late 1700s, I think he lived. I don't know. I think maybe later, I don't know. So he wrote this parish, and he speaks about how horrible it is to even think that an angel has a physical embodiment in this world. Remember, we spoke about this a week or two ago, okay? This comes back, and I'm going to actually cite the Likutei Torah that started off because the Ramban holds differently than Rambam. And here, Mar Shemesh, even though he's a Chassidish interpreter, right? He is putting forth the idea of Rambam, who says that angels have no form, and they're just thought, pure intelligence, and an emotional world also. Some more than others, like in the Oilma Yetzirah. Those are emotional beasts for God. He says, the Marav Shemesh says, I want to learn it inside, okay, because that's my goal for the day, that there is no Merkava. Okay? Let's look it up. Maybe we should do the Ramban first. Maybe we'll come to the Ramban for the end to save the day, and maybe shed light on what I think is at the root of idolatry, which I haven't said yet. Let me just hint to it at least. Let me think how to hint to this. When you're in a relationship with someone, and they tell you that they love you, and you know how much you love the other person, do you believe them that they love you as you love them? A person wants to take his relationship and say that it's crystallized in a certain form. You want to put it, you want to be able to articulate and say, okay, it's in a box now, we love each other, good. But a real relationship is fluid. You have to grow together in life. I'm saying this as how this applies to our relationship with God. It's a fascinating thing, and that's the essence of idolatry. Idolatry is the idea, you saw something at Har Sinai, and how dare you try to confine that into a given form? It's our luchais, what's written on them, this exact point. That's what our tablets, made out of sapphire, that's what they communicate to us. I am the Lord your God. Do not have other gods. God spoke that to us as part of the whole mission of a Jew, to recognize that. So why would you be tempted to give a form to God? Because you want to package your relationship with God in a certain way, but a real relationship is fluid. You have to grow together. I found an incredible thing from Rabbi Merkur, posted this amazing thing, he found it, about how your relationship with God is a dance. And it's the moon that's at a distance specifically. You can't dance when you're one, completely one. There is a dance that, you dance to music, right? And what is a song? It's the cadence and the up and the down and the volume, the tune, the da, da, da. It's everything. It's all about ratza v'shev, running to God and coming away. So it's this process, this rhythm, okay? Rhythm is at the essence of music, of song, and dance, of course, too. And sometimes when Chassidus speaks about dancing, it describes the circle dance of coming in and going out. We come together, we come away. There's a concept of distance, and that's represented in the moon, the malchus of the moon. And that every day it gets closer. Okay, that's the dance of the moon. Good morning. This awesome romance, like one step towards you, you step towards me. I don't know. Think about what a dance looks like to you. There's an intimacy there, but it's spawn of distance. Good morning. It's the distance that allows there to be the room for each person to express themselves, reflect on what they see and experience, give what they are, and have that interaction be a dance. Okay? Remember, we were speaking before about when prophecy, it's prefaced by hearing the flapping of the wings of the angels. It's an audible experience. I think I have that cited here in my source, if we get to that source. That's going to be at the end, I think. It's an audible, tangible experience. Check out what the Maor V'Shemesh says. It's a bit long. I might have to skip parts, and that will make it a bit... I might lose some of the flow, but okay, we'll see. See where we go. Okay? This is how I got it from this verse here, because it's quoted in the Sikha that I translate. I'm going to post maybe today, writing a new editorial next week's about this idea. Okay? Or no, maybe I wrote it. Yeah, I finished it already. Okay. Some details. No, I'm working on a new thing. But he quotes this verse, you should be very cautious to your soul. It tells you to go back, the commentaries tell you to go back to Pasuk, Tes. Okay, it says there in Pasuk Tes, okay? From these verses, we learn the laws of taking care of your soul, not letting yourself be endangered, putting yourself in jeopardy. You're not allowed to do that. You have to take care of yourself. To great detail, the Torah goes into all the dangers that you should not put yourself into. Okay, that's the context of these verses, okay? And the Rebbe cites it in that context, telling you that you might want to have your soul fly out of your body. This is the secret I just translated. It's awesome. You might want your soul to fly out of your body, but al karcha atocha, you live against your will, and you have to be very cautious to take care of your health, which I talk about all the time, but here it resonates. I spoke a bit about that yesterday also. So that's the context here, but we get to talking about the context of these verses comes here from is not talking about that, about keeping it, that's a drush. Okay, what it's really talking about is not thinking that God was an image. Don't put my relationship with you in a box. You can't understand it. It's unfathomable. It's so deep you can't understand it. So when someone loves you, and God tells you that, at the Seres Dibros at Mount Sinai, when God spoke to us and reached out to us, when He says, "V'havti Isach Ne'um Hashem," I think the verse is, and I love you, God says. There's a verse that says that. I love you. Do you believe when God says, I think that's the Seres Dibros, that's liken, the Chachamim liken that to a wedding ceremony. We got betrothed to God at that moment. wedding canopy of all the fire and glory, okay? That's what it was like. Very passionate moment, but it wasn't the ultimate. I won't get into that, it's going to take me far off topic. But the idea is that at that moment, God establishes his bond of love to us. Do we believe him? I think that's what's at the core of rejecting idolatry. He's saying, I believe you. We had one experience. I'm not going to try and now put it in front of me so I can look at it any time and say, that's what it was. It was only that. And I'm going to capture that moment. And whenever I want to look at it, I can say, oh, God loves me. Or I respect some ideals in the world that the person would graphically represent in a form of a 3D sculpture. That's what they would do. Some virtue that they wanted to bow to, literally, they would embody in a form. But our relationship to God is fascinatingly not unifocused. It has multi-focus. In the one thing, I think it's Shishirim, the Medrash on it, it says, Hashem calls us Biti, Achaisi, Imi. His daughter, his sister, his mother. 3 relationships right there, and there's many others. Master, slave. You have other relationships, king, subject, shepherd, sheep. Okay, there's all these interesting relationships that you cannot put in one form. You cannot ever contain and say, my love is this, and articulate it, because it's always, you're expanding your horizons of what that means when you throw yourself into the infinite. Okay, so what is the Marav Hashem so concerned with, and what in the world is the time? I don't have a watch on right now. Okay, we don't know the time. Rabbi Markel, good to see you. Okay, I want to learn this inside, okay? It's on Parshas Veschanan. V'nishmartem eid. It's pasuk Yud Daled. Okay, in Parak Daled, pasuk Yud Daled. Nishmartem eid menafshe. Saying he isam kol tmuna. He goes on. You didn't see anything. And tashchis. And if you do it, it will be horrible. To make a form of a graven image, that would be a horrible thing. That would be a very limiting thing. Tamnis kol remes ba'adam. Okay, he goes on quoting it at length. All these verses. Rather than you're going to serve them. And God gave them to the nations of the world. He asked a few questions on this. Maybe we should jump ahead. Okay? So, okay, this is where, let's just jump into it. You cannot give anything, any expression, to capture or articulate or express, or no matter how elegant your speech and your skills in talking and communicating are, you can never capture anything resembling God. It says the eyes of Hashem open a hand. There's verses that say that God does things. The eyes of Hashem. Rambam talks about this at length, and we've spoken about it, I think, before. This is only the Shavres HaEizen, to give you some way to understand anything. You have to talk. You have to talk around something. That's how you really get to the essence of things that are beyond your ability to articulate. Or anyone's, Sorry, a phone call, sorry. Okay. No thought can possibly grasp God. Okay, that's what he's saying underlying idolatry. This is awesome words. Even though our sages say that the holiness of God is like flaming embers. Okay, I didn't make that up. Wow. Think how poetic our religion is. Okay? You don't trust some guy that's saying poetry. Okay, don't trust me. Don't. But look at all this beautiful, beautiful poetry in our Torah. Our Chachamim call God a smoldering cinder. Smoldering embers, rather. The idea of smoldering, if I understand correctly, is the way the flames just move back and forth, and it's the dance, okay? Hugamken rak l'shavres ha'izim, but this, says the Marav Shemesh, is only, so you're speaking about something in words. You have no ability to really articulate the truth. Why? Rak shehi bechina yeser dako. You have to refine something more subtle and sublime through these hints. Lispainin Gdulas Yitzreinu, to be able to use it as a means to meditate on the greatness of God. Aval be'etzem l'kusim madmus te'archeloi. Shechas v'shalom ein lachshav shumach shabachas v'shalom l'shar l'chanes loi. But in essence, godliness has no ability for us to imagine at all. Chas v'shalom. You shouldn't think that any thought can estimate or articulate him. Everything is the ultimate purity, beyond anything to do with graphical thought or materialistic experience at all. Completely pure, bahir, shining, like because no thought can grasp him, okay? V'af hamerkavel yena. Hima chayas nesis lakisei mechuni b'shem sher nesher arya adam. And even the supernal chariot, which are the beasts that carry the throne of God, they are articulated, they're expressed, okay? They're expressed, b'shem, with the name of an ox, an eagle, a lion, and a man. Because there's angels that had all four faces of those. Chas l'shalom l'damei shehema chayest dmus nesher kanal. Chas v'shalom, to imagine that these have these forms that we just said they do have. Chas v'shalom, to think that that meant literally. Rak hakol l'shavra says mashiachel l'shmaya. You just have to communicate. Your ears have to hear something. You have to use language that people understand. You cannot just say things we said 20 years ago. If language has not changed from then, you're kidding yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. It's just a fact. Everything is supernal light. When we're talking about the essence of God, it's godly light. You cannot express this in any physical thing. Meanwhile, he uses a physical thing. But he puts the word godly in front of it. Air is not a godly thing. In essence, it's a physical thing, right? Okay, is it a wave or a particle? I don't know. The whole question makes it the best mashal to use to articulate the inability to articulate God, okay? It's a, what do we call it? Eres el Yenis, okay? Supernal lights, godly lights. Did we say godly before? Maybe it was the word supernal. Okay. When a person corrects his actions and purifies his body and his soul, he cleaves to God. He has dvekus to God. And everything is the simple godly light, supernal lights. And not to any ways mistaken to think that there's anything physical about even the spiritual things that pertain to godliness. And it goes on. Okay, but this is important. When you say all these things in learning Torah and davening, and you're unifying supernal godly names, holy names of God. God forbid to make anything like this have any physical manifestation, or not even a letter of the Torah. He says it again and again and again. Okay, now I'm going to read you the Ramban. Okay. It appears in Likutei Torah, Parsha Seis Bracha. Good thing I had this bookmark because I would have looked in the wrong parsha. I read this before. It's worth going over again, especially in this context. You'll really be able to appreciate the difference here. And I think our Chassidus Chabad, is very clear about this. And it pushes the border a little bit. God forbid to think that it goes against the essence of what was said there by Mar Shemesh. I don't think it does. Because at the highest possible level, the very essence, yes, it's beyond everything, but it's also manifest in Davka, the physical, so that becomes a conundrum. Okay, remember what we just said. I'm going to say a bit outside first. Rambam, Maimonides, codifier of Jewish law, says in The law is the foundation of the Torah. He speaks about the very matter of the world, okay? It's made out of 4 elements, okay? They're like ideas. But they make up the essence of physical structure with forces in the world that we call earth, air, wind, and fire. Okay? When you burn a tree, you're left with the ashes, which is the earth of it. The 3 other parts, the air and the wind, the air, the earth, the fire, and the water, have evaporated and eviscerated. They're gone. So you're left with the earth, which represents an earthiness, nefesh bahamness. It's a holy thing. It could be used for holy or not. Okay, we spoke about that in the paradum of the ashes of the red heifer. But the Rambam speaks about when you do this process, that identifies the fact that there's these 4 elements that you're identifying. Your fire dissolves things. It separates things. That's the power of fire. It's the ashes of the red heifer. Okay, I know I'm talking fast, but the ideas that I want to focus on, I'm going to focus on. I know, because I'm running out of time. You've got to know a lot of stuff. Okay, I expect you to be doing your homework. So Rambam says there's 4 elements. If you don't have all 4 elements, you don't have anything physical in the world. Take away one, it's gone. Every single thing, even the ashes, are really a composite of all 4. It's just that the majority of it has been vanished. Okay, and he explains at great length. The water goes becomes sand, the sand becomes water. Okay, try and understand that. It's talking about something that's a bit elusive and not so scientific in the way we understand science. It's scientific in a different way, in a Torah way, which I've written about at length this first time, okay? So, according to Ramban, okay, he says angels are physical. But it draws on this idea that Rambam says, okay, that you need all 4 elements, because he only cites 2 aspects of the elements that exist within angels. They have air and they have fire. That's what they're made of. So it's not an actual physical thing according to Rambam. So it's not a necessarily contradiction, because Rambam represents the whole body of thought that says that angels are just intelligence, pure intelligence. Some aspect of the angels, maybe the body of the angels, because the secrets of the Rebbe that distinguish the soul of the angel and the body of the angel. The body of the angel, Chabad paskins that, according to the Ramban, they have bodies. What are these bodies? I'm saying it doesn't have to be contradiction, because it's 2 elements of the 4. It's some kind of thing. You could call it spiritual if you want, okay? And everyone's happy. There's ways to resolve contradictions. There's ways, if you doubt things, ask questions and trust when God tells you He loves you. He does love you. Trust that. You don't have to put it in a box and an idol. But why then is there this middle ground? It's very confusing. And we specifically put images of the Kruvim in the Holy of Holies. Why? Maybe the hint in this Ramban. There's something called the elements hapashit, removed from the other elements. So they have these 2 aspects of the element removed. They have air and fire. Because there's different sizes of angels. One is 400 light years, 500 light years. Okay, I'm using different words to make it more interesting to you. There's one that covers the 1/3 of the universe. That although their bodies are so great, they still take up place. They have a body, therefore, not like God, who is beyond any expression of body. And that's why their song invests itself within the aspect of audible sound, a voice, to the extent that it is heard by the ears of the prophet. It is audible, it's physically tangible. How could that be? But we distinguish that there in this context, the Alter Rebbe's Kutei Torah. He distinguishes it there from this Song of Souls, which is constant and completely removed from physical expression, which is why God has to put the souls in bodies to be able to use that godly, pure energy within the physical. So you have this expression of the Kruvim and the Kodesh Kodashim, because there is some aspect that is attained through that flirts with the idea of physical manifestation. So you have the Shechina. It's in a physical place. I was taught that by a child. You dive into the east, right? To Yerushalayim, where the Shechina is. It occupies a physical space in the world. This is the point that I'm afraid to even talk about, okay? Because what that means is very powerful. And it also helps you understand what it means that you should be terrified of the Shechina. Think about it, okay? If the Shekhinah can be manifest in the physical world in a certain intimate environment called the Holy Temple in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and all that means, because it was I've spoken about this at length. People get so confused if you just brush over a topic and they leave you with you leave the people with wrong ideas. People are so distorted. I'm telling you, they will look for things to say. You said this. It's so silly. Have a conversation, a real conversation, where you trust that someone has positive intent. What aren't all Jews beheskas ksheres? You assume a Jew is not trying to. I wanted to put more provocative titles, but I knew that I couldn't. Certain things you cannot do. Okay, a wise person taught me this. You have to estimate your audience. So the internet is a very nebulous existence that you don't know who's going to walk in. Maybe it is inappropriate to speak things so openly. What am I going to do? Charge $1,000 entry fee to the you have to be over 40. You have to I don't know what, to have gone to the mikvah. I would do that if people want that. I don't care. I'll give you your money back at the end of the session. But just to verify, I know that sounds silly. Okay. I think that's all that we have time for today. I think we covered the topic. What did we start with? The essence of idolatry is not believing that when God says he loves you, he actually loves you. You doubt it, therefore you have self-doubt. You're not totally confident. You don't exhibit health in the world because you have to mask yourself with all these side things that keep you numb. That's why people walk around in a stupor and are zombies. That's why. That's why they're terrified to see someone that's alive and awake in the morning. What do you do? Who's awake in the morning? That's crazy. How dare you? But yeah, use the best part of the day, the cream of the crop. Give that to God. Davka then. Specifically then, rage to God. Just let loose. Don't care about what anyone says. Kushan tukas to the world. Okay? It doesn't matter who's criticizing you if you're just alive and they're not. It's really a sad thing for them. Are angels real or just spiritual? So angels are real. They could affect physical things in the world. According to Rambam, there's a whole different philosophical line of Jewish thought that says they are only intelligence. Chabad does not seem to rule that in essence that's what is the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is they have physical presence in some respect, and we're not afraid of that, even though that has some semblance of saying that there's a form to godliness. The Mar Shemesh, Hasidic interpretation, is terrified of you thinking that. Completely inappropriate, he would say. I just don't think that's Shittas Chabad. If someone shows me sources to the contrary, obviously I will engage that and re-understand. I'm quoting you a source from Chutei Torah. It's the Alter Rebbe's Torah, his teachings, quotes a Ramban, who's a very recognized Rishain. So it's on firm ground, this idea. So physical representation exists. That's why we have the Kruvim, that's why we have the Kodesh HaKodashim, but in a very intimate, private relationship with God. So only under certain boundaries. There's the exception always is the Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay? There's one Moshe Rabbeinu. It's the Rebbe Melech Mashiach. It's not me. It's not you, but it is me and you. Because everyone has a spark of Mashiach in us. I gotta compete with this lawnmower. Everyone has a spark of Mashiach in them, right? It's louder than any lawnmower. It roars with passion for God. It only wants that. It wants to bring godliness in the physical world specifically. So there, you have to have some trepidation. It has to be fear of the Shekhinah, but there's going to be Shekhinah in this world, in the Kodesh HaKodashim, revealed, and everywhere in the world is going to have an aspect of that. So everyone's going to have Nitzvah Mashiach in them. That's the Beis HaMikdash within. Chol echad ve'echad Yisrael. Every single Jew. The Lakutu Chol echad ve'echad Yisrael also is another pasuk. Hashem's going to take us each by the hand. Okay, so see brachas in your life. See everything unfolding before our eyes in your life, in the physical, tangible. All the lawnmowers that are trying to shut you up are going to be quieted. And on that note,